Good evening, you're watching Left, Right and Centre. I'm Nidhi Razdan. As the UN General Assembly approaches later this month, Pakistan is stepping up its anti-India rhetoric, with the Army Chief General Raheel Sharif now stepping in, talking of Kashmir as their lifeline. Pakistan's envoy to India has also been summoned today after India's High Commissioner to Pakistan was snubbed at an event in Karachi yesterday. As the war of words intensifies, we've had the United States also calling on Pakistan today to do more against those behind the 26/11 attacks. Should India diplomatically isolate Pakistan now, or do we need a completely new tactic? Joining us on the program tonight, Ambassador Vivek Karchu, former Secretary in the Ministry of External Affairs, Ambassador Rajiv Dogra, who's also been posted to Karachi in the past, GVL Narasimha Rao, the spokesperson of the BJP, and Mr. Manishankar Iyer of the Congress Party joining us this evening. To Vivek Karchu first. We're seeing, of course, Pakistan clearly taking advantage of the situation in Jammu and Kashmir right now. And do you see this rhetoric actually becoming more shrill in the weeks ahead, particularly with the UNGA around the corner?
There's no doubt about it. I think they'll step up the rhetoric and the propaganda, but it is doubtful if they will meet with any success. In the last 2 months, they've tried everything possible, but the international community has more or less ignored them. And I think at the UN too, they will raise it, but the chances of their succeeding in drawing international attention to the situation in the Kashmir Valley are fairly low.
But what does Mr. Dogra though tell you about the Pakistan strategy right now? It's not anything new for the Pakistani army chief to call Kashmir its jugular vein and so on. But we've also seen a very concerted, multi-pronged attack by the Pakistanis this time over the last couple of months. Whether it is the army chief here, you have had Nawaz Sharif sending a special envoy to Geneva to raise this issue. They have appointed 22 envoys to raise this issue at the UN. So they're really going out in this effort to internationalize it. What does that tell you about what's really going on vis-a-vis India, Pakistan and the Pakistani army right now in particular?
Well, I think the important question is, why did it start suddenly? After all, Kashmir was quiet all these years, nor were there so-called spontaneous reactions from the Kashmiri population before June. 6th of June, when Nawaz Sharif was away in London having his heart operation, the army chief Raheel Sharif called in the defense minister of Pakistan, finance minister of Pakistan and the so-called foreign minister of Pakistan to his room, his office room, and told them that I want Kashmir issue to become hot. Since that day, they have not stopped issuing statements, whether it is Mr. Sartaj Aziz or any of the other wings of the government, nor have they let up on interference in Kashmir. The fact is that if you go back in time to press reports and media reports, Kashmir has become hot since the first week of June. So obviously there is a two dimension to this issue. One is the international dimension
in Kashmir, it's
and
also
the
because
national.
of our own handling of the situation. So it's
Well,
both, and they're taking advantage of that.
Our own handling, of course, one can analyze and one can criticize.
But they've taken advantage of that.
They have been instrumental in promoting the protests. They have been instrumental in guiding the protests, and they have been instrumental in lighting the fire.
Well, that is certainly a view that many do hold, although in Kashmir it's far more complicated because you have everything's kind of gotten mixed up. The genuine anger on the ground, which Pakistan is trying to take advantage of as well. But General Rashid Qureshi, when we see this sort of stepping up of the Kashmir rhetoric by the Pakistani leadership, this kind of shows you that the relationship at the moment really seems to have hit rock bottom. What's the way forward?
I'd just like to say a few words before I answer your main question. I think personally, now it's my view and a lot of people's view in Pakistan, that Pakistan is not upping the rhetoric and things in Kashmir, which is something that we hear from the Indian side. I think it's totally indigenous. I think the problem started with the suppression of the Kashmiri people by the Indian army or the Indian government. That's how I just heard someone identifying that it was June onwards that these things started. Please look back, also see what the government forces and the army did June onwards. I'm talking about the Indian army. I'm talking about the killing of a young man who was taken as a leader by the people in Indian occupied Kashmir.
He was a member of the Hizbul Mujahideen.
He
was a terrorist and a member of the Hizbul Mujahideen.
The point is, General Qureshi,
that's what you say,
fishing
sir.
in troubled waters.
That's what you say.
It is fishing in troubled waters. There is a problem in Jammu and Kashmir right now. India is internally trying to handle that. I am saying that what Pakistan is doing is fishing in troubled waters. And how can you say the onus can't be on India to reach out every time? Look at how the relationship has unraveled in the last 6 months.
You see, we look at it, we have a different perspective. We look at what India is doing, what Prime Minister Modi is doing as a sort of onslaught on Pakistan, trying to equate Kashmir and other parts of Pakistan to Indian occupied Kashmir, and saying that, accusing Pakistan that you're doing this in Indian occupied Kashmir, we will do this in Balochistan or Karachi. Now, frankly, that's
I think he is wrong. He didn't say that.
We have.
No,
that's not what the Prime Minister said.
No.
However, that is something the Pakistanis would take advantage of, and I'll come to that, Ambassador Dogra, about whether that works as a strategy or not. But Manishankar Iyer, you've always batted for dialogue between India and Pakistan. How do we do this? Look at the atmosphere. Look at the atmospherics. It's so negative right now. How do we pick up the threads from here?
Who made it negative? And why is it allowed to become more and more negative as we go on? Because there's clearly no desire on the part of the Indian establishment, and that includes at least 2 of my colleagues on this panel, and possibly a third after me, who don't want to talk to Pakistan, who don't trust Pakistan, who don't believe that anything will come out of talking to Pakistan, and who therefore use opportunities that inevitably arise to derail the dialogue. I say that when there is lack of tension in India-Pakistan relations, things calm down in the valley. And equally, when the valley is calm, then India-Pakistan relations is calm. So we need to realize that we shouldn't be fueling problems on either side. We do need to understand that there is an indigenous problem in Kashmir that requires us to address those problems. And there has been very little action taken in the last 60 days. I'm not counting the all-party delegation. But look at what we have before us as a possible way to solutions in Kashmir. We have the J&K resolution following Narasimha Rao's, not GL Narasimha Rao, PV Narasimha Rao's assurance that the sky is the limit as far as autonomy is concerned. We've kept that under wraps. We have the several roundtable conferences that were held.
Absolutely.
We've kept the outcome of those under wraps.
And the interlocutors
we have
report
kept the interlocutors report under wraps.
No, you're
so
right.
Unless you
you're right. There is an internal problem.
Internally,
but Mr. Iyer, is it fair to say that this government is not interested in a dialogue with Pakistan when Mr. Modi surprised all of us? He's the one who invited Nawaz Sharif to his swearing in. He's the one who took that surprise trip to Lahore on Christmas Day, and then Pathankot happened. It's not that Mr. Modi hasn't tried. It is that every time he has tried, it's been that sort of typical backstabbing from the other side that's happened. I mean, politics aside, you can't fault him for not trying.
I fault him for having started the dialogue without conditions and then disrupted it by imposing them back in August
one short question.
And 14. I also hold him responsible for taking initiatives without recognizing that there will be a backlash on the part of certain elements in Pakistan, particularly the terrorist outfits. I fault him for saying that if you go on and on blaming Pakistan in international forums, then Pakistan is going to blame us in international forums.
Mr.
We decided decades ago that
so
we should talk to them,
you're saying it's
but
an
we don't talk to
policy.
them.
You're
so
sorry. I just want to ask Mr. Rao to come in on this point, Mr. GVL Rao, and not Mr. Narasimha Rao, to take off from what you were saying, Mr. Iyer. But Mr. Rao, what Manishankar Iyer is saying is that there is an inconsistency in our approach towards Pakistan, and of course we have to deal with our own internal problems, but specifically on Pakistan, Is it that, whatever steps have been taken in the past haven't been thought through enough, or their consequences thought through enough?
I think we have had successive Congress governments in the country which have completely mishandled the situation, and we would be happy if they do not politicize it at this juncture, because a lot of opinions expressed by congressmen are passed off as personal comments by the Congress party officially. I don't know, so what Mr. Iyer is saying, whether it's a Congress view or a personal view. As far as the present situation is concerned, I think we certainly have an upper hand. Pakistan is feeling the heat. I think Pakistan's screws have been tightened from all corners. I think US only a week ago has suspended military aid of $300 million to Pakistan because the US does not trust that Pakistan is really acting against terror groups in concert with Washington. I think it's only paying a lip service. And today, US again has given a statement that 26/11 perpetrators must be brought to justice. So you have international support forthcoming for our position, and Pakistan is a loner. Today, the entire world perceives Pakistan as a terror state, and thanks to the efforts of Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi. It's because he has persisted with it. It's because even the entire West is reeling through a series of terror attacks, and Pakistan is, as a country, has been fomenting, has become a hotbed of terror, has become the breeding ground for terror. So today Pakistan has no sympathizers. Nawaz Sharif may send 20 odd MPs, but there are no takers for Pakistan's position. It's completely getting isolated. We need not get crazy about it. We need not get concerned about it. It's Pakistan which is completely on the back foot.
General
it's Pakistan
Rashid
which
Qureshi.
is completely isolated.
Yeah.